Hi Santosh.
Hi Satyajit.
So this module is about basic accounting, that much of accounting which is necessary for every value investor to know, because
Okay.
I have now seen with several of my students that it's a big stumbling block. Because if you are not from a finance or an accounting background, simple basic accounting can be a pestering problem which keeps on cropping even in advanced lessons. So this is something that I wanted to make it, as simple as possible. Obviously, it is not a full treatment of accounting. That is not possible. But
Okay.
it is only that much of simple ideas, the basic framework of accounting which is necessary for every value investor to know. Okay.
Okay.
So the way we'll break up this session, as usual, is that we will first of all break it into the concepts part, the steps part, followed by simple questions based on the previous concepts or steps. Okay, so the
Okay.
module is divided into two parts, steps, around 4 or 5 steps, and thereafter we'll take simple questions which will apply those steps. Okay,
ठीक है. Okay.
so in the steps part, what we're doing is I'm basically deriving the basic framework of accounting in 4 or 5 steps. What we call as the accounting equation or the balance sheet equation, which is the underlying idea behind accounting. The entire subject
Hmm.
is built around this fundamental equation called accounting equation. So I'm going to derive it step by step from fundamental first principles. We'll take 4 or 5 steps, derive it, and thereafter we'll tackle the questions. Is that okay?
Okay. Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
the use of this, again, to reiterate, is that what happens is when you're reading financial statements, analyzing them, using it for valuation, and eventually actually using actual data to pick stocks, etc., unless you are very clear in this part, there is always the scope that you'll stumble or fumble somewhere. So that is what.
Mm-hmm.
So a good treatment of basic accounting helps you there. Okay. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's probably a good idea to revise this material until you are completely comfortable. It's like the basics. Okay. Uh, so it's, for example, if somebody wants to become a technologist or an engineer or whatever, it all begins with a few basic physics, right? Newton's laws of
Mm-hmm.
motion and basic laws are the fundamentals of the subject, isn't it? So
Okay.
आप कितना भी बड़ा subject बनाओ, the fundamentals, yeah, if you are studying chemistry, then the periodic table is the fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
So unless one is very clear with those basic concepts, advanced stuff does not make sense. Similarly, all of finance, valuation, financial statement analysis, stock picking, analyzing in company, etc., is based on a few simple concepts. A very important concept is the accounting equation, which is basically how accounting, which is basically how the subject of accounting is built. It is based on this equation. So let's begin.
Okay.
Okay. Step one. So here is an English statement. Just read the statement for your benefit once.
All that your businesses has is equal to was given to it by somebody.
Yeah. So before you even begin, so this is an English statement. What I want you to do is I want you to translate this into accounting language or finance language में हम जो भी उसको बोलते हैं. So I want that translation so that you understand.
So
Okay. So before I begin,
so.
I just want to flag one concept. Let me quickly do that.
Uh-huh.
So the concept is called as business entity concept. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's a fundamental accounting concept.
Uh-huh.
What it says is, you, the owner of a business or a shareholder of a business, and the business itself, okay, are are separate entities. They are not one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is a distinction between the owner, shareholder, and the business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your business is not the same as you. You are not the same as business. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever we are doing accounting, always remember we are doing it from the perspective of the business, not from your perspective. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So therefore, notice the wording here. I am saying all that your business has. I am not saying all that you have. I am saying all that your business has. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
given to it, not to you. Was given to it by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this concept that all that your business has was given to it by somebody is the foundational idea of accounting. Accounting इसी base पे चलता है.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I want you to take some guess and I want you to translate this equation, which is in an English statement, into some sort of accounting logic. Can you do that?
All that your business has is like equity, total equity.
No, no.
Okay. Uh,
Let me
all
not
that your business.
prolong this because yeah, it's not So let me supply the answer.
Uh,
So all that a business has in finance or accounting terms is basically called as
okay. Applications. Hmm.
okay, whereas this is called as
ये मैं जिंदगी में गेस नहीं कर रहा था. ठीक
I
है.
know. No, but it's okay. But this is a foundational idea. Think about it. See,
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
business
Makes sense now.
is an artificial entity, isn't it? वो
Yeah.
तो भगवान का नहीं बनाया हुआ है, ह्यूमन बीइंग का बनाया हुआ है. So
Hmm.
every first of all it must be supplied funds, that business.
Hmm.
Otherwise उसको
Hmm.
मिलेगा कहाँ से? How will it generate? Okay,
Hmm.
and that must be applied somewhere. That's funds in various things. So this fundamental rule, which makes sense, correct?
Yes.
Logically it makes sense. This rule must always be followed no matter what happens in the business, correct?
Hmm.
So this is the starting point of all accounting.
Hmm.
Remember this. And इसी से हम छोटा छोटा derivation will do very soon. Okay? So this is the starting point. Okay? Now let's move on to step number 2. So this application of funds now in technical terms is called as what?
Application. How you're going to operate the funds?
Yeah. Where are you going to deploy or use the funds in a business? So the business will call that application of funds as what?
Operating expense.
नहीं. Although it's not fully wrong, I will they're close enough, but think about it.
Application of fund assets. Okay.
So all the funds that you get in a business, they're applied to buy assets, right?
Right.
Okay.
The
So-
assets can be in form of machineries or employees and
Not
place, land, or everything, right?
Yeah. Not employees. Employees are not assets, but land and machinery, plant and building, furniture, fixture, goods,
Okay.
inventory, and so on. Okay. Now the sources of funds are of two types. This you know already. So what are those? Sources of funds basically are first of all supplied by outsiders
Hmm.
and by owners,
Yeah, by the promoters, right?
promoters. So outsiders matlab we mean lenders.
Hmm.
Okay. So sources of funds from lenders is called as
Sources of funds from the lenders is called as loans.
or liability or debt. Correct?
Yeah.
And from owners is called as
Investing capital. Yeah.
it's called as capital or
Uh.
equity capital, correct?
Uh.
Or equity capital, equity, whatever, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So this is, can I shorten it as A for assets equals to
Okay.
L for liability
Mm-hmm.
plus C for capital.
Huh.
A is equal to L plus C. This is the first accounting equation, correct? This is the first equation people understand when it comes to accounting.
Mm-hmm.
So what we will do is now we will develop this equation a little bit more because a few things are missing. अभी कितने terms हैं? Is equation में how many terms are there?
3.
3. One is asset, one is liability, and one is capital. There are 3 terms. Now we need to introduce a few more terms, and then we'll have the complete equation. Moving on.
Okay.
Step number 3. Okay. Now imagine that at the starting of the year, you started a new business and you put in some money and you borrowed some money. So therefore, you had some cash asset, you had some loans, and you had some owner's capital. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you do is you use all this money that you have invested in an asset to basically generate some sales and then incur some expenses. And at the end of the year, what will you have?
Uh,
By using this money in the business, what will you have?
Sales.
Sales, and then you'll incur some expenses. So therefore, what will you
Yes.
have at the end? Profits, hopefully,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So can I say that at the end of the year, if I'm taking stock once again, if I am preparing the equation once again, what I will have at the end of the year is that my asset now will be liability plus capital plus some increase in capital, that profit,
Right.
that delta C, which I can also call as P or profit,
Right.
right? Can I do that?
Yes.
So at the end of the year, your capital increased a little bit,
Uh-huh.
your asset also would have increased a little bit, obviously, यहाँ पे. But
Right.
the point is, at the end of the year, your capital now goes up, correct?
Right. If you are in profit,
If
basically.
you are in profit, yeah, assume for a simple
Yeah.
example. Simple example.
Uh, uh.
Okay, moving on. So the equation would be like this.
Okay.
Now,
Perfect.
yeah. Now, if I have to break this P into two parts, you are already talking about sales, remember? So if
Yeah.
I have to decompose P, what will I write?
One is profit before tax.
No, no, no. This
Right?
profit, yeah, that is correct. But
Uh,
this profit basically is because of what?
because of all the sales and
Yes,
whatever you have done in the past whole
correct,
year in terms
correct,
of
correct,
business.
correct. So the sales I am calling as revenue are minus E expenses, correct? That is what profit is.
Mm-hmm.
So, this R or revenue is called by many names. So it can be called as sales. It can be called as gross income. Americans, they
Uh-huh.
British people call it something else. Americans call, but so there is a lot of confusion. Some people also call it as turnover. So multiple names. Okay. So
Mm.
and then there is expenses, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All the various expenses. And then what you have R minus E is P. P is also called as earnings or net earnings or net income or bottom line. So multiple names are there too for the same concept, not to get confused.
Okay.
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 So now we have this equation. How many terms are there? Can you see how many terms are there?
Now there are five terms.
Five terms. One, two, three, four, five. Okay. There are five terms. One thing that I also want to point out is that this equation, this is the full accounting equation, full.
Mm-hmm.
This also can be rearranged. Can I rearrange it? Can I say A plus E? Basically, I am shifting the term from RHS to LHS.
Right. A
A
plus E. Right.
is equal to L plus C plus R. This R
Uh,
is nothing but sales or whatever. Okay.
okay.
So same equation, only rearranged.
Right.
Same five terms. Okay. So these are the two forms. Nothing great. Basic
Mm-hmm.
fifth standard, yeah, sixth standard का algebra है. This is nothing more than that. LHS is equal to
Yeah.
RHS. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on. This accounting equation
Mm-hmm.
is a very important concept. It is used in number. Let me highlight the importance of this concept or formula or equation or identity. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
it identifies the 5 terms which capture everything that happens in a business comprehensively.
Okay.
Getting me? So anything that is
Uh-huh.
happening to your stock, your business,
Mm-hmm.
must affect one or more. In fact, it must affect these terms. अगर आपके
Mm-hmm.
बिजनेस में कोई भी मीनिंगफुल वेल्थ क्रिएटिंग या वेल्थ डिस्ट्रॉइंग एक्टिविटी और एनीथिंग टू डू विथ योर मनी मेकिंग, it must necessarily be captured by these 5 terms. There is nothing beyond these 5 terms. You see?
Okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so when you're trying to analyze a business, knowing the fact that they can be expressed in one of these 5 terms or one or more of these 5 terms means that
Mm.
you now have 5 concepts with which you can think about a business.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So जिस तरह
Right.
Mendeleev's, it is Mendeleev, right? Periodic table वाला. I
नहीं
think
पता
no.
नहीं.
Anyway, whatever. So the periodic table basically gives you the elements found in nature.
Right.
Correct? You cannot say कि मेरे मन से मैं कोई नया element, I dreamt of one element. It is not like that. It's a
Right.
very
Right.
it's a very robust thing. Similarly, the accounting equation, and I showed you the derivation, is that anything that happens to a business, it must affect one or more of these 5 elements. Has to.
Mm.
Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you are thinking about anything that is happening in business, मेरे business को नया order मिला, या मेरा
Mm.
business में salary या salary rise हो रहा है, या
Mm.
गवर्नमेंट ने टैक्स कर दिया, बढ़ा दिया, या मेरा
Mm.
डिमांड वीक है, या सेल्स
Mm.
ग्रोथ बहुत हो रहा है, एनीथिंग,
Mm.
या आई एम पेइंग डिविडेंड्स, या
Mm.
I came up with a new product, it
Mm.
must be captured by one or more of these, actually at least 2 of these 5 elements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
getting it? So
Mm-hmm.
that is the great thing about the accounting equation, that it gives,
Mm-hmm.
therefore they say accounting is the language of business.
Mm.
Now you understand why it is the language of business. See,
Mm-hmm.
when you
Yes.
say it's a language, when you say English is the language or Hindi is the language, what do you mean? It means that the vocabulary and the rules of grammar will
Mm.
are able to express your thoughts.
Mm.
If you take
Mm.
the entire set of in fact the alphabet or the
Mm.
vocabulary and grammar, the syntax, it tells you, it is a tool which will express every thought that you have. That therefore it is a
Mm.
language. Similarly, accounting, these 5 concepts, A plus E is equal to L plus C plus R. This these 5 terms will be able to capture everything that happens in a business. Therefore, it is so important.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, that is point number 1. Point number 2 is, we will not do it because it will unnecessarily confuse you. But accountants and bookkeepers use this equation to basically draw the rules of debit and credit, to extract the rules of debit and credit by which they record all transactions from this
Mm-hmm.
equation itself. We will not go
Mm-hmm.
into it because we are not training to be bookkeepers or accountants. This training is basically, this module is for investors. We are not in the business of preparing accounts. We are in the business of uh, analyzing and interpreting accounts. Therefore, we will
Mm-hmm.
not get into it, debit and credit. But I just want to kind of highlight that bookkeepers and students of commerce and accounting basically use this equation to draw the rules of debit and credit, which is used
Mm-hmm.
extensively in bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are not going to get into it because it is unnecessary digression. We will not get into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Number 3, this equation or the accounting equation is also called as the balance sheet equation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So your balance sheet is nothing but an expression of this. Balance sheet
Mm.
को अगर आप analyze करो तो it is nothing but this.
Mm.
Okay. So balance sheet this is nothing but a balance sheet
Okay.
in a different format. Underlying logic यही है.
Mm.
Okay. Now, additionally, if you, instead of that format, if you write this, A is equal to L plus C plus R minus E. If you do this, okay,
Hmm.
this obviously entire thing is the balance sheet,
Right.
but particularly this part is nothing but your profit and loss statement.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
which means your profit and loss statement is a subset of your balance sheet.
Hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Basically, a P&L statement basically tells you how the capital changed in a year. डेल्टा
Hmm.
कैपिटल क्या हुआ, ओरिजिनल कैपिटल में इंक्रीज डिक्रीज क्या हुआ, उसके डिटेल्स को प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट कहा जाता है.
Hmm.
So therefore your
Okay.
P&L statement is nothing but a subset of your balance sheet. From the equation it is apparent. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Good. So this ends the first the first part of the module. In the second
Hmm.
part, we will use these concepts and solve a few questions which will
Okay.
make these concepts operational and clearer. Okay?
Okay. Okay.